Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm happy to see you today for another video. And for today's video, we're gonna talk about an interesting topic, which is gonna be a topic that it's gonna be super useful for you if you travel in Paris or in the rest of France and you wanna use the public transportation. Today, we're gonna talk about les transports en commun. Public transportation. So you're going to be able to learn everything about all of the different public transportations that we have and that we use in France or elsewhere, and what are the pros, the cons, the advantage, and the inconvenience of each one. Little introduction. Définition. Explication de ce que sont les transports en commun, moyens de transport utilisés par plusieurs personnes à la fois, comme les bus, les trains, les tramways, etc. What does that mean? It's just an explication, a definition of what are the public transportation and what is a public transportation. It is the way that people use to go to a place but reunited. So, of course, multiple people in the same way of transportation, such as the buses, the trains, the subways, the tramways, and everything. The different types of transportation. Les différents types de transport. Le bus, the bus, le tramway, the tram, le métro, the subway, le train, the train, et le taxi, the taxi or cab. Let's focus on the first one, le bus, the bus. Le bus est un moyen de transport collectif sur des routes. It's on roads. Il est très répandu dans les villes et les zones rurales. That means it's used a lot in the cities, of course. Avantages et inconvénients. We did two parts. We're going to see the pro and the cons of using the bus. First one, avantage, accessibilité, accessibility. Il est présent dans la plupart des villes. It is present everywhere. So, of course, depending on where you live, if you live in a tiny little village, you may not have a lot of buses, but it's one of the most common public transportation. Économie, pas cher, is not expensive, surtout pour des trajets courts, especially on short roads. But even if you want to travel from one place to another in the city, usually it's what, like between 1 or 3 maximum euros, dollar. This is affordable. And the last one, flexibilité. Flexibility peut circuler sur de nombreuses routes, changer de trajet si nécessaire. That means can go on a lot of different roads and can change destination or ways depending on the traffic. Inconvénients, bad sides of the bus. First one, embouteillage. Le bus peut être ralenti par la circulation dense. What does that mean? It just means when there's traffic. Embouteillage, two ways to say embouteillage. Either embouteillage, traffic, or if you want to have another more common word, we would say bouchon. Embouteillage or bouchon, it means traffic. Yeah, so of course, if there's a lot of traffic, you're going to be late and it's going to take more time. And the second is ponctualité. Punctuality, the timing. Sometimes it's not really on time and you have to wait a little more than expected. But yeah, this is le bus. Careful with the pronunciation, we don't say le bus. Le bus, the bus. Le tramway, the tramway. We also tend to say le tram. Cut it short, we don't say the way, just le tram, le tramway. Description. Le tramway est un moyen de transport sur rail. Il est plus rapide qu'un bus et n'est pas affecté par la circulation routière. Of course, it's on rails, so because it's not on the road, it is faster than the bus and it's still super easy to take and it's transports you well. Avantage. First one, écologique. Souvent électrifié, donc pas d'essence. There's no gas on it. So for the ecology, for the environment, it's kind of good. Second, confort, the comfort. Moderne avec des espaces plus grands et confortables. So modern with bigger spaces and more comfortable. Troisième, third, rapidité. Rapidité de speed. It's fast, way faster than the bus. Comme il circule sur des voies dédiées, il n'est pas bloqué par les embouteillages. No traffic on that because they have the specific road, specific ways. So they're on point most of the time and they're not going to be stuck in traffic. Inconvénient, bad side of it. Coût élevé. It's more expensive And so when they have to rebuild it, it's going to cost more money. Then, limitation géographique. That means the geographic zone, when they're going to use it, is kind of limited. It's not as open as the bus. So once you have the spot to use it, it's super easy, but you need to find one. Le tramway, le métro. Le métro is the subway. So, description, réseau de transport souterrain dans les grandes villes. So that means it's a way of transportation, but underground in the big cities. So to say, subway, métro. Avantage, rapidité. Il évite la circulation grâce à son réseau souterrain. No traffic, of course, you're underground. Deuxième, fréquence. Les métros circulent souvent toutes les 3 à 10 minutes. You have a lot of subways wherever you are. Every time you use a subway, you maybe have to wait like between 3 or 10 minutes maximum to get a new one. So it's pretty fast. Third, capacité. Peut transporter de nombreuses personnes à la fois. You can be a lot using that. So even if you're a group, usually sometimes you have more space. And for example, in the tramway. Inconvénient, bad side. Afflux aux heures de pointe. Bondé, surtout en ville à certaines heures. That means that it's often super packed, super crowded, especially during certain hours, before work in the morning and late at night. You have to be, of course, patient and you know that it's going to be crowded everywhere in the subway. And then the second point is coût d'entretien. So the cost of entertaining everything and to make sure that everything is clean. Les infrastructures souterraines sont chères à construire et à maintenir, meaning that it is kind of expensive because of all of the people that are coming in, and it's non-stop working that sometimes it's a little dirty, a little messy, not very brand new. So yeah, the good point is it's fast. It can take a lot of people, but the bad side of it would be that sometimes it's super crowded and it's not super modern compared to way, for example. Le train. Same word as in English, train, train, but careful with pronunciation. Le train, the train. Description. Pour les trajets longue distance, plus rapide que le bus ou la voiture. Of course, for long distance, if you want to go to a long place that is far away, it's usually way faster than using the car or the bus. Avantage. Confort. Le train offre plus d'espace et de confort. Of course, it's super comfortable to be on the train and it's bigger and it is often super modern. The seats are nice, so comfort is a plus. Second plus, rapidité, the speed. Les trains à grande vitesse sont très rapides et offrent un moyen efficace pour se déplacer sur des longues distances. Train à grande vitesse means the train with the fast speeds, so they're going faster than the original, the natural regular trains. We call that in French the TGV, from the letters T, G, V, which is train grande vitesse. Are super fast, of course, and they use good way to move from one place to another on long distance, not too long time. And then the third, écologique, ecological. Plus écologique que l'avion ou la voiture. It's more ecological than using the train than using the plane or the car. Inconvénient, bad side of it. Prix élevé. Les billets peuvent être chers. The prices. Of course, because you have a certain comfort and it's going to help you to go from one place to another in a short amount of time, it is mostly more expensive. So the tickets are more expensive. Horaire fixe. Of course, when it's a train, you don't choose the hour. It's not like you're waiting for the subway and every 3 minutes you have another train. If you miss your train, complicated. So now you have fixed hours that are scheduled and the train is not going to change. So not as much as availability, such as the other public transportation, but it's a good if you want to go from one place to another. I would say the train is super comfortable. We have le taxi. Le taxi. Description. Voiture avec chauffeur qui transporte des passagers pour un tarif défini. What does that mean? That means cars with a driver who transport the people with a specific price. Avantage. Confort et services personnalisés, transport privé. Of course, It's kind of comfortable. It's a personalized service because you just ask to get a driver, so you don't have to be surrounded by other people and taking the same public transportation as other people if you don't like it. It's a private way of transporting, and it's like super comfortable and cool if you don't feel comfortable being with other people. And then, accessibilité. C'est une solution de transport quand il n'y a pas d'autres options disponibles. That means what? Accessibility. It's a solution when, for example, other ways of transportation have an issue. For example, you plan on going to somewhere and you plan on going there by using, for example, the bus or the subways, but you see something like there was I don't know, like an incident or something, and like the train is not working, the bus is not working, and you're stuck. You can call a taxi, you can call a cab, you can order one, and it's always like a good solution. If you're stuck in a situation, you know that you can still take the taxi and it's going to take you to that direction. So that's pretty easy. Inconvénient, bad sides of it. Coût élevé, the cost, of course. Les tarifs peuvent être beaucoup plus chers que les transports en commun classiques, way more expensive than the traditional ways of transportation because of those advantages, which are like the easy way to transport to go from one place to another using a private transportation. You have like a private driver in a way, so of course it's more expensive. And the second one, disponibilité. Trouver un taxi peut être difficile dans les zones moins denses. The availability, it's sometimes more complicated to find a taxi, a driver available in your zone. You may have to wait a little bit sometimes just to make sure that you find one. It's not as available as, for example, a bus or the subway. Okay, I think we're doing well. Before we do the exercise, let's just make sure that you're good with pronunciation of all of them. So first, we saw bus. You see, le bus masculin. Le tramway, or you can say also le tram. Tram, tramway. Le métro. Le train. Le taxi. All of them masculine, specific. I think you know. Okay, now letter exercise for you. You have on one side the ways of transportation. On the other side, you have some characteristic with one good point and one bad point. You have to try to tell me what word matches with the right characteristics. Let's read them. So, moyen de transport, ways of transportations. Le bus, le métro, le subway, le train et le taxi. Ok. Caractéristiques. Confort, mais cher. That means comfort, but expensive. Transport privé, mais attente. Private transportation, but waiting time. Pas cher, mais bouchon. That means not expensive, but traffic. Électrifié, mais limité. Electrified, that means no gas, but limited. Limited maybe in the zone area. And then you have the second one that says rapide, mais bon. Oh, you don't really say it. Rapide, mais bondé. That means fast, but crowded. So you have all of those, and you have to try to match them with the right definition. That's for today's video. I think that may have helped you, hopefully, to know a little more about all of the different public transportation. Those are the main ones that we're going to be using in France. But of course, I don't know where you live, but if you're from Toronto, another city, I think there's some that you might use or not. Tell me. I'm excited to know, and I'm curious to know, what are the public transportations that you use the most? What do you think about them? Do you think, or do you wish that there was more public transportation in your city? How is it? How are they dealing with the waiting time, the prices? I think it would be cool to maybe compare the ways that the different cities use it. I know that, for example, in France, we use a lot the buses, les bus, and a lot the subways, les métros. Those are the ones that works the most. We don't really do taxi, like the taxi, the cab, not that much. But compared to Canada or the United States, for example, where they use it a lot, way more than in France, tell me where you're from and what are the ways of transportation that you use the most. I'm wishing you a good evening, and I'm I'm going to see you next week for another class. Salut!